Welcome to the SwimSwam Podcast. I'm today's host, Coleman Hodges, and joining us today, we've got swimming royalty. They are coming off of the back of the 2024 Short Course World Championships in Budapest, where they combined for 14 medals, 8 world records, 9 unofficially, and $261,000 in earnings. We are talking to Regan Smith and Kate Douglas once again. Thank you both so much for joining us again. How's the jet lag?
Definitely not as bad as Asia.
Yeah. I'm waking up really early in the morning, but that's kind of a blessing. So yeah, it does feel easier than World Cup.
Yeah, I've been okay since being back.
This episode of the SwimSwam Podcast is sponsored by Commit Swimming, SwimSwam's exclusive team management software partner. Since 2015, Commit has been providing coaches with swimming's leading workout management software. And now, Commit has team management software too. Commit wants to help you make the switch from Team Unify to a simpler, more powerful solution. Their onboarding and customer service team will walk you through every step of the way. Check them out at commitswimming.com to book your demo today. That's COMMIT swimming.com. Regan, you're in Arizona. Kate, you're in Charlottesville. Do you have to take like a bunch of flights to get to Charlottesville? That's not an easy place to get to.
Yeah, no, it's definitely not. I mean, obviously, like DC is kind of our main airport that we have to use for international flights. And then either we can drive 2 hours to DC or take a 15-minute flight from Charlottesville to DC, which usually ends up getting canceled like it did on our way to Budapest. So kind of a gamble there. But yeah, definitely not easy to get to if you're trying to go somewhere far.
Bummer. Regan, did you have like a direct flight to Phoenix?
Almost. I went from Budapest to Paris and then Paris to Phoenix. So it was a little bit easier for me. Yeah.
Not so bad.
Well,
I'm glad you are both home safely and soundly and in the United States. Holy crap. That was a crazy meet. I feel like I'm still processing it. I think everyone on the outside is still processing it. I guess we can get to processing at the end. I want to throw one more stat out. On paper, you two combined for $597,000 in winnings over the last 2 months. How do you feel about that? $600K between the two of you.
It's pretty cool, but I think at the same time, I'm very grateful for that like swimming is our full-time jobs and that we're able to do what we do. But I think the second that I start focusing too much on earnings, then I'll like lose sight of what I'm doing doing this for, which is a cliche, but pretty true. So very cool, but I don't want that to be like my only focus.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. I feel like if you go into the meet like trying to win money, like I feel like that kind of just takes away from like the fun of racing and stuff. So it's definitely, obviously after me, it's nice to look back and see what we've accomplished, but it's definitely not kind of the main point of what we're doing.
Yeah, of course not. I'm not, sure, right. But it's after the meet and holy moly, it's a lot of money. But congrats to you both.
Thanks.
Let's start out with this. You're coming off the World Cup. We chatted after the World Cup circuit, 3 meets in Asia. You both did very well there. Coming into this meet, did you have goals, expectations, especially now that you had gotten some short course meters racing in, and maybe you had, some benchmarks for yourself in terms of times or just race executions?
Kate, you want to go?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I feel like, definitely after World Cup, I kind of had some ideas. of like what were decent times for me in short course meters. And so I feel like going into Worlds, I would have liked to, like, I kind of wanted to improve upon, what I knew I could do and what I did at World Cup. But I also went in with just kind of little expectations on myself, just knowing that I also hadn't been like training as hard as I usually do in the fall. And, obviously traveling so much back in October. And then only coming back here and training for 4 weeks, but also traveling for a bunch of different things. And then finally heading to short course Worlds. I knew that I wasn't, in the best place that I could have put myself, but also I felt confident after World Cup and I felt like I did what I needed to do. So yeah, I just kind of went in hoping I could improve upon those races that I did at World Cup, but I also just kind of wanted to have a good time and take the pressure off. And I think I did a really good job of that. And I feel like this meet, my mental state was probably the best it's ever been at a swim meet. I feel like I just was like having fun and was like, it doesn't really matter how I do. I was just like, if I don't medal, if I get third, if I get second, like it really just doesn't matter.
Yeah, I think my answer is really similar to Kate's. I wanted to have the same mentality that I had for World Cup, being like, okay, I'm not really training, like I'm swimming and I'm like in shape, but I'm by no means in the shape that I was for Paris trials or any of the other meets in 2024. So again, as I mentioned before World Cup, I wanted my mentality to be like, whether I do amazing or whether I do terrible, I wanted to practice like the way that I handle things mentally. And so I was like, hey, if I do great, then it's going to be pretty easy to be in positive, high spirits. And if I don't do so great, then it's going to be a great learning experience to recognize that this is part of playing the long game in this next quad. And like, I don't need to be at my best right now because I purposely took a break this fall. So that was my standpoint. But also, like, I'm a competitive person similar to Kate. And so I wanted to improve upon my times from World Cup. So it was like a mix of a lot of different things. But yeah, the 4 weeks that I had in between World Cup and short course Worlds were similar to Kate's too. I was traveling a lot, went home for Thanksgiving, was bouncing between Phoenix and Austin. And so then my training completely changed when I went from Phoenix to Austin, because I went from doing, Herbie training base to Bob training base. So that was a slap in the face going back to Bob. And so I was just like, I don't know how my body will react. And I think that showed a bit in my performances at short course Worlds, because I think I got faster as the meet went on. Like my 100 backstroke individually, I wasn't pleased with the 54.5, but also I was like, it is what it is. I don't care. I knew that coming into this, we didn't know how I was going to do. But then by the end of the meet, I was 54.0. So I think doing some of that Bob training was a shock to my system. And then I think I ended up needing a bit more rest than we both thought I did. So that was interesting. But yeah, that was like my whole mental state, thought process, everything going into that meet.
I know we did one interview with you, Regan, at the meet. We had SwimSwam had a reporter there who talked to a couple times, but it's so great to hear both of you put an emphasis on having fun while competing and saying that this meet, I mean, for Kate, maybe for you too, Regan, was the most fun you've ever had, or the best job you've done at letting go of maybe results. Which is awesome to hear, because from the outside you wouldn't have known that, because there were some crazy results. Again, maybe looking at World Cup versus this meet, when you get there, World Cup, it's like 3 days of racing, one race a day, or maybe, I think Kate, maybe you guys had some doubles, but you're racing maybe a little bit less, and then you have a few days, and then you race again in 3 days. How do you prepare just the couple days before this meet, or just mentally knowing that this is kind of a 6-day slog where you both swam a ton of races?
Yeah, I mean, I think because we raced so much at World Cup and we both did do some really tight doubles there, and they ended up, going pretty decently. And so I feel like I wasn't really scared to swim a lot of races, because we both had a really busy schedule for Worlds last week. And I feel like I was kind of excited going into it. I'd never really had the chance to have a busy schedule at Worlds, since it's always based off of long course times. I usually can only do the 2 IM. last time I was able to do the 2 breast. So I was really excited to be able to do the 100s and the 50s this time. And I wasn't really scared about doing all those races. I was kind of just, I think excited to have the opportunity to do all of them. And I feel like also doing all of those races kind of helped the meet go by a little bit faster than usual, which I kind of really enjoyed. So I feel like I was just kind of looking forward to being able to have a busy schedule.
I think my approach was similar also. I didn't try to really overthink about how I would prepare anything. I think I just showed up to the meet and I swam once a day for the days leading up to it and was just trying to like enjoy Budapest and like being with teammates that I hadn't seen since Paris, or Golden Goggles, I guess, and just like enjoy being with people again. And then, I think pretty similarly to Kate, I was busy, and so it did make things go by pretty quickly. And I think since we have raced so much, as Kate said, at World Cup, and then in between Phoenix and Texas, we race like once a week. Like we suit up and do stuff off the blocks like at least once a week. So I've just been training racing stuff a lot this fall. So I think it made the meet setting, the 6-day meet setting pretty manageable and easy to handle just because I'd been doing it so much. So it really wasn't too bad. I was a bit worried for it, like before my flight, but then once I got there, like it's just a lot easier to relax when you're like actually in the environment and then surrounded by all your teammates who have similar schedules as you. Because like whenever I'd get in my head, like about like my 50 back to fly double where I had like 15 minutes between, I can like sometimes overreact about that. But then seeing like Kate, for example, I think she had like, what did you have, like 3 doubles, I feel like, where you just had like multiple races like each night.
I think I doubled almost every night.
And she kept her mouth shut the whole time. And I was like, why am I? So
I was pretty proud of myself for that. I didn't complain like once, which usually I do. So I was proud of myself.
So I think having my teammates set an example like that was like, okay, like we're just gonna put our head down and do what we have to do, and it's fun. And I think the other thing that helped was that final started at 5:30 every night, so we were done by like 7:30, 8 p.m. instead of 10 p.m. So I think that also made it easier to have doubles because it wasn't like the middle of the night when we finished. I don't know.
That was really interesting. That, I mean, I don't know why they decided to do it, but like I thought it was great as a viewer, as someone covering the meet. Like it was like 10:30 Central in the United States. So it was like, this is awesome. Like,
well, the sun was setting at like 3:30 p.m. in Budapest, so that might have been why.
That was
fair
hard.
enough.
It was like nighttime in the afternoon.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
It felt like we were on the moon.
No kidding. What time did it, when you went to prelims, was it still dark also?
No, that was okay.
Prelims was normal.
The sun rose at like 7:15, 7:30 maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And then just set super early.
Yeah.
Interesting. Huh. Didn't know that about Budapest.
Us either.
early nights and winters. I mean, going back to the double, again, a lot of swims, a lot of firing off, but like you guys said, it was fun. You weren't even complaining about it. You're just like, hey, let's have a good time. Did the team environment affect that? Do you feel like coming off of World Cup where it was, like kind of just you as an individual, or, maybe you two, or you had a small group of people traveling together? What was it different being with the entirety of Team USA, especially, I mean, that women's team was robust.
Yeah, it was a pretty stacked women's team, and it was like all of our friends, like we knew everyone on the team, which I feel like helped so much because we all just like meshed immediately. But I feel like overall, this was probably one of like the best vibes in like our team area at a meet that I've like experienced. I feel like everyone was just having so much fun and obviously like feeding off of the energy of all of, Gretchen's world records and all of ours too. And I feel like we were all just so excited and kind of just like, we were all just having a good time, I think, and enjoying racing. And yeah, I feel like that definitely helped me just kind of, not complain and just be excited to race. And if I wasn't happy with the race, I was just like, oh, whatever. And was just like joking around with my friends, like kind of just brushing it off. So yeah, that was, definitely a really good experience for me.
Yeah. And it was very different than World Cup. But I always love like when Team USA is taking care of us and we have all of our staff. We have like our med staff, our massage therapists, Keenan's there, all of the coaches. So you're in very good hands and you're very well taken care of, which is nice because I feel like you don't have to think about like, oh, your recovery after you swim, what you're going to eat, things like that. And so at World Cup, I think it required a little bit more thought on Kate and I's part to like make sure we were taking care of ourselves. But yeah, I think that was the only thing. Being a part of this team in particular, everyone meshed literally immediately. Because the majority of the girls at least had made the Olympic team, and then those who I hadn't been on trips with before were so outgoing, so friendly, so easy to get to know, and like meshed with the team very quickly. Like Lila and Kate, I didn't know at all before Kate Hurst. They're both so sweet and contributed to the team like in very positive ways. Were really fun to get to know. So it was so fun. Nothing bad to say about it.
Were there newbies on the team, or were there members of the team that surprised you in terms of making positive contributions outside of the pool? Captain Regan. You were captain.
Gosh, honestly, I mean, no one really like surprised me, I guess. I mean, everyone just did a really nice job of like being supportive teammates, and the majority of, and I can't really speak on the guys because I feel like the guys do their thing and the girls do their thing and we mesh in the team area, but that's the extent of it. Or you know what? Okay, I'll give a shout out to Daniel Matheson, who's on ASU. He's a captain here. He's a senior, but this was his first senior trip. And he had 2 races because he had the 800 and the mile. And so every other session he was in the stands, like leading cheers, being so loud and positive and like bringing the vibes up. And he composed himself very much like a veteran, which was like super cool to see. And I'm sure that's just because he was a captain here as a junior and now as a senior. So he's got some experience under his belt. But I think he was someone who did a really, really great job, and maybe didn't necessarily surprise me because I knew him prior. But if you didn't know Daniel, I feel like you would have thought that he'd been on like 4 or 5 trips. So I think that was someone who really stood out. But everyone did great. Everyone was so supportive of each other and bonded very quickly.
Yeah. Kate, any shout outs on the women's team for surprises?
I mean, not really. I feel like, everyone was just having a good time like usual, but I did love like being around Lily, and it kind of made me sad just thinking about her like, probably retiring soon. And I was like, I just like was thinking about how like I'm gonna miss having her in the team areas and stuff. And I was so happy that we could all be on that last relay together, because that relay is so much fun. And I mean, it's different depending on, who's on the relay, and that group of girls, we had a good time. And yeah, I feel like it was really nice to have Lily there just as kind of one of our older veterans, kind of leading the group of the youngins through it. And yeah, I feel like that, was definitely enjoyable for me.
I mean, there's so many swims I could talk about, but I think that's a pretty standout one. You two, Lily King, Gretchen Walsh, broke the women's 4x100 medley relay world record by nearly 4 seconds. The last swim of the meet on the women's side. And I think you both swam in mixed relays at this meet. Is that correct? Kate, did you?
I didn't swim in any.
Okay, you were exiled from mixed relays.
Yeah, I didn't have time.
Yeah, you had enough going on. But I mean, Regan, you led off a mixed relay in a world record. It didn't count, but it doesn't matter now. I'm curious, like, this is kind of a dumb question, but it's like, as a fan, like I'm watching it and I'm like, these women are so far ahead in the medley relay. Or Regan, in your case, for the mixed relay, it's like you're so far behind at some point because there's men swimming next. Like, how do you stay in your own lane in situations like that, or how do you stick to your race plan? Like the women's medley relay, it's like someone could have added 2 or 3 seconds to their split, and like you guys would still be so far ahead. Like, how do you still go so fast? Because everyone went the field fastest time in their respective split.
Yeah, I think the whole thing, like, I think that's like what encapsulates swimming is like you have to stay in your lane. Because the second that you start thinking about what the people next to you are doing, you're not like thinking about yourself, and you can overthink and spiral and then underperform. And as I've spoken about in the past, that's been something that I've been historically like bad at. Like I've struggled with it, but I've gotten better at it as I've gotten older and gotten more experience in the sport. And so I think that was just another opportunity to like not think about anything else, cancel out all the other noise, and just think about what I wanted to do. And what I wanted to do was like get us off to a really big lead and break the individual world record, and then like be the catalyst to then break the relay world record. And so, yeah, I knew to do that, I couldn't be thinking about what was going on around me, because that has no impact on what I'm doing. You know, like all it's going to do is distract me. So I knew like what splits I wanted to do. I knew what I wanted my tempo to be. I knew what I want my kick counts to be, and to like stroke count. So it was literally just thinking about that. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe Kate, this might be a bigger question for you, because you could have like, I think, done a practice swim. You could have been in a practice suit. You could have like, I don't know, like you had such a big lead by the time you dove in for the anchor leg on that relay.
Mm-hmm.
How do you still go historically fast?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely going into that relay was like, okay, I'm gonna be so fine at the like, anchoring this relay. I knew we'd have a big lead, which definitely like took the pressure off a little bit. But obviously, I still wanted to, have a great split. But it is definitely hard when like there's no one to like chase down or to race. So I kind of just went in I kind of just wanted to have a better race than I did in my individual 100 free, and I just wanted to kind of better that. But it definitely was hard because every time I would swim the other way, I'd be swimming against the entire field and all the waves would be hitting me. And so I was definitely noticing that, which was kind of weird and definitely difficult to swim through all of like the waves and the white water from the rest of the field. But again, that just meant that we were really far ahead. So it, wasn't a bad thing. But yeah, I feel like I just, we were so far ahead. And so I wanted to just give it my all on that last leg.
Yeah. The commentators mentioned that during the race, and I was like, oh, I've never seen that before.
Yeah, I could definitely feel it.
Interesting. Regan, did you feel waves at all in the mixed, leading off the mixed relay?
Luckily, no, because I was in between two girls. So I had clean water as well, which I think added an extra chip on my shoulder as to like the frustration of the like time not counting. Even though I knew the rules, so like I had accepted it, but it was just another reason for me to be like, gosh dang it, like why couldn't it have just counted? But no, yeah, it was okay in the mixed.
Gotcha. Then nice. Yeah, seriously, maybe they should amend that rule. Like if went 2 women either side or 2 men either side, it counts.
Yeah, but then I guess like I don't know. I guess that could open the door to then like having people manipulate the prelim swims to like try to figure out what lane. I don't know, but yeah, I did think it was odd because yeah they didn't count it, but then I was the only person in the relay to get drug tested, and so I was like, dang it, like you're not gonna count the time, but you're still gonna test me. Like it just felt kind of like a double whammy slap where they're like, nope, but you got to stay behind. And so. Yeah, but whatever. Happy to support clean sport always, but I was just like, man, this sucks.
Those are the things that, again, people watching from the outside don't think about. I mean, so you guys mentioned final start at 5:30. You were out 7:38. But was it, I mean, how many times did you get drug tested throughout the meet? I mean, were you still having those late nights just because you have to recovery, dinner, if you get drug tested, that like there's a lot of steps aside from just warming down, right?
Yeah, I feel like 9:30ish, 10. What do you think?
Yeah, I feel like I was always on like the 9:20, 9:40 bus back, and then yeah, we'd have to eat dinner after. So it wasn't like a super early night, but it could have been a lot later. But yeah, I mean, we got drug tested almost every night. They drug tested after pretty much every final. So that was always annoying to have to deal with, for sure.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
But yeah, grateful that it wasn't like an 8 p.m. final start or something, because that would have been terrible. So it really made it okay. And they were very, what's the word? Efficient. They're very efficient in doping. So we were always in and out within like a half hour, 40 minutes, even if there was a huge line. So it could have been way worse. Yeah.
Okay. That seems positive. That's good. Yeah. Everyone loves Budapest. Everyone loves the Duna Arena. What makes it so great to go to a swim meet there? If for everyone who hasn't been to that city and that pool before.
I mean, I've only been to that pool twice, and yeah, everyone hypes it up. And I mean, I guess I get the hype. Like, it's a really nice pool. It's fun to race in. It's got a lot of seating in the stands, so the crowd can get pretty loud there. But I feel like I really like the setup of like the warm down pool, the locker rooms and stuff. Like there are some pools where like, you kind of have to like trek pretty far to like get to all those things. But this pool, it's pretty simple, pretty easy. And the warm down pool is a pretty nice pool. So yeah, I feel like just all of those things make it kind of a great place to have a meet.
Yeah, completely agree. And that was where I had my first ever senior trip, was Worlds there in 2017. And so now for me, I'm very comfortable there, and I like know the ins and outs now, thankfully. And USA always gets the same team area, like, so we always sit in the same area, and it's like a very nice big area with windows around. And then we have really easy access to the warm down pool. And the comp pool is so fast, which is great. Everything's just very new. The call room is really nice too. Yeah, you never have to really like worry about anything when you're there, I feel like, because everything's new, everything's nice, everything's convenient, so it's good. Yeah.
I feel like that is an underrated facet, especially if you're traveling. If you don't have to worry about something, it's nice.
Definitely.
But I mean, like you guys said earlier, you're with Team USA. There's so much that's taken care of for you already. Did you notice during the World Cup, or maybe even this time, that there are things or steps in a process of taking care of yourself as an athlete that you forget to do sometimes, or at World Champs, they were taken care of for you, and you're like, oh, this is so nice because I had to do this for myself during World Cup?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there are definitely things that like USA Swimming provides to us that like when they don't provide that to me at a meet, I usually just don't do it. Like we get like flushes after our races if we want. There's an option to take an ice bath, and then there's like nutrition like immediately available to us. And those are things that I kind of just skip if they're not like very easy for me to do. And so I feel like these are like the one meet like or two meets throughout the year where I actually do everything right. And so I'm very grateful that, they give us the opportunity to do all that. Cause yeah, usually this is stuff that I'm like, I should do this, but I don't really have the resources or, the energy to make it happen for myself.
Yeah, completely agree. And for me, like the big differences too, the flushing, the ice bathing, and then I do like lactate testing as I'm cooling down. And so Keenan was there to do that. And then the nutritionist there, Ricky, if you like ask her to get something for you, she'll like prep it, make it, and then like hand deliver it to you. So like I always had that immediately after my races. My go-to is like Vitargo and protein powder, and I just chug it. So yeah, then when we don't have that at World Cup, we're just kind of going through life like with nothing. But I think it was also nice to see that like we can perform so well even with none of the recovery tools.
Yeah.
So I think that just goes to show you how like mental performances are. So it was like a confidence boost to see how we could still do so well with nothing at our disposal, and then obviously then do well when we have things to help us. So it was a good comparison, I'd say.
Going to the meet format, I think most of us didn't even realize until the meet started that World Aquatics had unincluded the single gender 200 relays, 4x50 relays, and then added, I think, 1 or 2 mixed relays. Thoughts on that? Or if you had any, or if you, I am curious, did you know that was going to be the format heading into the meet?
I don't think I had like an idea of what it would be, so I didn't know they like switched it, honestly. But going into the meet, I knew that there were 3 mixed relays, and I knew that I wasn't going to swim them because I had such a busy schedule. And I mean, at these meets, like obviously it's fun to be part of Team USA and do relays, but I feel like it's kind of more just a, personal choice on if you want to participate in them or not. And for, people who are super busy, it's not really worth it to tire yourself out and, do a double or a triple even in a night to do a relay. But it would have been fun to do a 4x50 relay. I do wish I could have done one of those. That would have been fun. But obviously, I guess they didn't have women's 4x50 relays.
Yeah, I didn't pay much attention because normally I'm not really a key player on 4x50s. The only relay duty I really have is the 4x100 medley. So I didn't know the relay order at all. I didn't know what they were omitting or keeping. And then Chris Plum one night was like, hey, I think we're going to put you on fly in the 4x50 mixed medley tomorrow. And I was like, oh, great. Like, I'm a great 50 butter flyer. Like, awesome. Like, that was sarcasm. So I'm fine at it.
True.
I'm not Kate. I'm not Tori. I'm not Gretchen in a 50 fly. I'm just not. So I was like, all right, I'm going to give it my best shot, but like, let's set the bar low here and then be proud of ourselves no matter what, whatever. And yeah, I'd never done a relay exchange before at an international meet. So that was a fun first thing. Yeah. So it was stressful only for that reason. So I was like, I have no idea how to time a relay start. I literally haven't done like a relay start in a meet since Stanford. So it's been 3 years. It was at NCAA's in 2022. That was the last time I did a relay exchange. So that was a fun thing to try. But yeah, that's my take on that.
That's crazy. I mean, Would you agree that breast to fly, that seems like the easiest stroke to change over from, right?
I'd say, yeah. It wasn't too bad. And yeah, Michael has a good long glide. So that was fine. And it all worked out. Yeah, I had a slow exchange time. I think I was like 0.3, but
wait, that's not bad.
Really?
I mean, it's not ideal, but I feel like I'm like 0.3 half the time.
Okay, that makes me feel better. So
yeah, better safe than sorry.
Yeah.
Seriously, you won a medal in that event, right, Regan?
That's true. We got bronze. Yeah.
Better bronze than Deke, I guess.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, yeah, for the record, I would have loved 4x50 relays too, but c'est la vie. I thought that was interesting. They also, I really liked that World Aquatics tried some different things. They did that. They did shared gender podiums. As athletes, I'm curious what you thought about that as well.
I mean, I didn't really have any opinion on that. Like, it was fine. I don't really care either way how they do that. I feel like the athletes don't really care. I feel like when it comes to that, I don't know what you think, Regan, but I mean, yeah, I guess it saved some time throughout the meet, which was maybe a good thing for just like how the meet was being run. But I mean, it was fun though to get to congratulate the guys too. But yeah, I mean, I don't really care how the medal ceremonies go usually.
Yeah, I completely agree. I really liked it. I liked that it saved time. It was efficient. And it was fun to like share the podium with new people. And like Hoobie's my really good friend. So that was like fun getting to share the 2-back podium with him and then be on the podium with him in the 100-back. So I enjoyed that. It was just something new to try. Yeah, nothing bad to say.
Yeah, I liked it. I love that it saved time. I know that ceremonies are really important to congratulate athletes, but I don't care about them. I just want to see swimming. So
valid.
I liked that there was less podium and more swimming. But
yeah.
Okay, yeah, I was just curious. as athletes, how you felt about that. So yeah, reflecting on the meet, did you both have a favorite swim that you had, individually, relay, both?
I don't know. I don't know if I have a favorite, but I mean, I was really excited to get to race the 50 free because I hadn't raced a 50 free short course since NCAA's, like, I don't know, a long time ago. So I was really excited to do that. And that race just like is just kind of like a stress-free race for me. Like, there's no really like pain involved. So I kind of just like, I don't really get nervous. It's just fun. And I was excited to be in the ready room with Gretchen for those. And yeah, I feel like I was really excited to be able to do the 50 free. But I would say the race I'm like kind of just like proudest of or like most surprised by was my 2IM, because that race just always like stresses me out. And I knew that I had been close to that record like 2 years ago, but I just wasn't really sure if I was in a place to be able to break it this time around. And so I didn't really know if I was going to get that world record in that race. And so, yeah, to finally be able to do that, that was definitely really exciting for me and definitely a surprise.
I'd say mine was the 200 back. And then similarly to Kate and the 200 IM, I get by far the most nervous for the 200 back, just because of like my history with the event and whatever. So, and then having that on the last day is just like another mental obstacle to get over. And I wasn't pleased with my prelim swim. I was mad that I was in lane 2. I like being in the middle of the pool. And so I like kind of had a chip on my shoulder and I was like, okay, I feel like I kind of have something to prove tonight after whatever the heck I did this morning. So I was very happy with how it worked out. I felt great during the whole race and I was comparing it a lot to how I raced it in Singapore. And so I knew what I needed to clean up, and like how to improve and like finish better than I did in Singapore. And so I like closed a lot better too, cleaned up details, and it was a great swim. It would have been like awesome. As I was leaving the meet, I was like, shoot, I was 54.0 and then 158.0. Like it would have been awesome to slip under one of those barriers, but like beggars can't be choosers. So it's completely okay. I'm still incredibly proud of those swims. Absolutely. But yeah, it's always fun to like reach for higher goals. So yeah.
Yeah. 54.0, 158.0 equals beggar.
Exactly.
A couple of questions about these races. Kate, do you breathe? Did you breathe in the 50 free?
No, I didn't. And I was actually really proud of myself for not breathing, because that's usually an issue for me. Holding my breath is something I'm not good at. And a long course 50 free, I've never done no air before. But I held my breath for all 3 of the 50 freestyles I did. And so, yeah, that was a big accomplishment for me. Because when I was doing 50 flies at World Cup, even with an open turn, I couldn't do the whole thing nowhere. I had to take a breath on the second 25, which was kind of sad. So yeah, this time around, I did it.
That's interesting. I mean, I don't know. I Maggie McNeil, who has no world records anymore, but one of the best underwater swimmers and short course swimmers, she was like a big component of breathing and air. She's like, you got to do it because you got to feel it.
I definitely think long course, I think it helps me to like take a breath and then I kind of speed up afterwards. And because I also feel like my breath doesn't slow me down like too much, but I feel like short course, especially since I try to stay underwater until like the 50-meter mark. I'm not taking that many strokes anyway, so I really try to not breathe in that race.
Well, congratulations on not breathing.
Thank you. Thanks.
Did you surprise yourself in that race? 23.0, pretty close to. I didn't actually watch that specific race, but you were 0.2 away from Gretchen. I assume that's pretty close in real life.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, I feel like with the 50 free, that was the one where I was like, I really have no idea what these times mean. Like, I don't know what this like translates to at all. But yeah, I was like, okay, if my times are like sort of close to Gretchen, that means they've got to be pretty good. But definitely I was super happy, I think, with my prelim swim. And then I added a little bit in semis, but I felt like I was capable of going a 3:0. I would have loved to go like 22:9, but yeah, I feel like I had a 23:0 in me, and so I was super happy when I went a 3:0 in the final. I feel like that was that was exactly what I was kind of hoping would happen. So yeah, super happy with it. But again, I don't really know what it means. Like in my head, I'm like, it doesn't really mean anything.
Yeah, I mean, fair enough. I feel like you have to like shift your whole mind a little bit to be like, okay, short course meters, like these are the times that I will go now. And yeah, again, what does that mean? Who really knows?
Yeah.
I mean, so Regan, similarly, after all your races, it's like you now have all three backstroke world records. Do those times or those accomplishments mean anything to you?
Yeah, all of them do, definitely. I think the one that like surprised me was the 50 back, just because like I don't know. I'm a very good sprinter, but I'm not like a sprinter. You know what I mean? So 50s get a little bit short for me. And Maggie's an exceptionally talented sprinter. And the fastest I'd been prior to going 25:23 was like 25:48 or something in Singapore. And after my 100 back being 54:5 in my individual race, I pretty much thought that the 50 was completely off the table. And I knew I'd have my hands full with Catherine Burkhoff because she's such a talented sprinter too. And her 50 back is always super strong. And yeah, after the semis of the 50 back, I was like 25:6. And I was like, okay, that's faster than what I went in Shanghai and Incheon. So if I can just hover around there tomorrow, like that's basically what I thought that I had in me. So then in the final, going 25:2, I think the stars just kind of aligned. I hit my start like head on, and sometimes my start in backstroke can be a little bit shaky. Sometimes I can hit an A+, but most of the time it's more like a B or a B-. So got lucky with the start. Timed the wall. Actually, I timed the wall very poorly. So my turn was really long. And then that caused me to negative split the race entirely, which was funny just because I took like what felt like 5 seconds to glide into my turn and come off the wall. It was ridiculous. But so then, yeah, I remember I did the flip turn and I was
that race.
I did. I was 12:62, 12:61.
It was kind of absurd.
What?
Yes, because my turn was so long. Literally, I flipped over and I felt like an age grouper like kicking into my flip turn. I was like, good grief, Regan, like way to blow it. And so I was doing my underwater kicks off the wall, like, okay, like great, like try to get second, Regan, like please. And so then when I touched the wall, I was like, holy shit, like what a very pleasant surprise. So I said the words pleasant surprise in my interviews, I feel like 8 times because I was very pleasantly surprised. I don't know what else to say. So yeah, that's the one I was the most surprised by, definitely.
I didn't think it was going to happen, but it did, and it felt good.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. Fair enough. And then conversely, was there a swimmer or a swim? You guys, I assume, didn't get to watch a whole lot of the swim meet because you were so busy. But was there an athlete or a performance that you did see that you really loved getting to witness or be a part of?
I mean, I loved watching Gretchen. It was just insane. And yeah, just watching her, I feel like do like the back-to-back world records and finals. I think there was night she had 100 fly, she broke the world record, and then like 30 minutes later she smoked me in the 100 IM, broke the world record again. I was just like, this is crazy. Like, how can she like pull these doubles like this? And yeah, so I was just pretty like amazed by her, but also not that surprised. I knew she had it in her. And so yeah, that was just pretty cool to watch.
Yeah, Gretchen for me as well. And then the other one that stands out was Claire on the 800 free relay. Her split had me floored. Like I couldn't stop talking about it for like 2 days. Like every time I saw her, I'd bring it up because I couldn't stop thinking about it. She reminds me a lot of Allison Schmidt. So I'm just really excited to see what she's going to continue to do as she gets older and stronger. But to do that at 17 is absurd. So that was cool.
That was nuts. I mean, so reflecting on the whole meet, I mean, the Team USA women looked as dominant as I've ever seen them look, which was super fun to watch. There were 30 world records broken in total at the meet, which, fastest meet in history, quite possibly, certainly in short course meters. Have you all digested any part of that, or just reflected on being a huge part of that, both for Team USA and just for swimming in general, just a couple days removed?
You got it, Regan.
I think that this is a meet that people will talk about for a really long time, which is super cool. Like a remember when type of meet, just because it was pretty comical how many records were broken. Like, I feel like every single night it was constant, and Gretchen had such a big part of that, which is so cool. So I think that alone will make her name go down in history, which I think is so incredible. And then Kate and I had a really big hand in the grand total as well, which is super cool. But yeah, I don't know. I just feel like this is a meet that people are going to talk about for a really long time. So it's very special to be a part of, especially because a lot of us went to this meet as just a chance to have fun and go to a meet and not feel pressure on us. Because coming off of the Olympic year, the last thing we want to do is feel pressure and feel like we need to be working super diligently and being really locked in. So it's really cool that things worked out the way they did after the summer that we all had.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. It's cool to see this meet just kind of go down in history the way it has. And yeah, no one really expected that coming into it. So it's really cool to see. And I definitely think it was just a great way to kind of start out the next 4 years, I feel like, as, Team USA. And it was fun to just be a part of that. I feel like the women's team just kind of, I feel like we did such a good job. And yeah, it was just so much fun to kind of feed off the energy.
It seemed like y'all made a statement, which was cool to witness. Okay, I know it's not about the money, but like, are you gonna buy anything cool? I know you got the rings after World Cup.
No, my New Year's resolution is to stop spending money. No, I did. I finished my Christmas shopping, so that was it for me.
Okay.
Yeah, me as well. I feel like all week we were both talking about how much money we were spending and how we need to stop, and we're very blessed.
Yeah, we were both talking about how we were excited to buy Christmas gifts for our moms, and we were going to treat them. And so, yeah, I definitely think our money's going to a good use.
Yes. Yeah.
What'd you get your moms?
I can't say.
Yeah, we can't say
that. Sorry. No, that was a dumb question. I'm sorry. Obviously you can't say. Sorry. Why your New Year's resolution is to stop spending money? You just earn so much. Why stop now?
I mean, I think it's good to, maybe, I don't know. We're both good at saving money, but it's sometimes good to stop just spending it on random things.
Yeah. When I think about myself, I have so many expenses because I'm paying 2 rents, and every time that I come to Phoenix, I drop at least a band on a rental car. And then I'm ordering a lot of DoorDash and Uber Eats because I get bored and sometimes I don't want to cook. And then Kate is a bad influence on me with online shopping. So she's made me develop quite a strong appreciation for online shopping. And it does add up. And we're grateful, of course, that we have that in our budget right now. But I think about myself again, specifically, I'm paying for my own college right now. I'm not on scholarship anymore either. So that's all coming out of pocket too. And I just want to be smart. I really like saving. That's what my parents really instilled in me growing up. And it's so important to treat yourself. And not hoard your money, but I don't want to just throw it all away. And then when I'm 30 and not swimming anymore, I don't want to be wait a second, what am I going to do now? I just want to be smart. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm also starting school again. So that also needs to be paid for somehow.
Again?
Somehow.
Well, I'm continuing my master's.
Okay.
I never finished it.
Oh, really?
But
When is
eventually
that?
I will.
When's that done?
I have 5 more classes left. So sometime in the next year and a half.
Gotcha. Okay. Fair enough. Very prudent, very responsible, very logical. That's fine.
Very boring.
Did you guys get anything cool in Budapest? I know you probably, I don't know if you even got to sightsee at all or go to anywhere cool.
I did walk around the Christmas markets. I don't know if you did, Regan. But we did we did walk around a little bit, and then there were Christmas markets near our hotel, and those were really pretty, but it was also like super crowded and overwhelming, so I didn't really get much. But I bought like little trinkets and random things from like the markets just because I was like, I feel like I need to get something. But it was definitely cool to like experience.
Mm-hmm.
We went to Zara. That's all I did with Kate. So.
Unfortunately, they have Zara in the US, but and H&M.
Yeah, H&M too.
Did you drop a band at H&M?
We didn't buy anything.
We didn't buy anything.
Man, so responsible.
Yeah.
All right.
Trying.
Fair enough. Thank you both so much for your time and insight once again. I appreciate you coming on and willing to chat, and congratulations once again on so many world records and 7 medals each. Where do you guys put your medals?
Honestly, I feel like these medals are less important to like keep. I don't know. I kind of send them home, put them in a box somewhere.
Fair enough.
I gave 6 of mine away to the volunteers who were working the meet. Yeah, because they were really excited about that. I bring home 1 from every competition because my mom has a display case that she likes to put my medals and awards and things like that. So I have 1 gold medal that I'm bringing home, and then I brought home 2 of the Lion mascots because I wanted to give 1 to my mom, and then a family friend asked for 1 too. So.
Yeah, I feel like these are good medals to give away to young kids who will definitely be more excited about them than we are.
Yeah.
That's very generous. I love that, and it's also cool that you get to give back. I was just talking to another athlete about getting loved by their community, so that's great.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, once again, Regan, Kate, thank you so much for taking the time to chat. It's been awesome as always, and I hope you both have a great holiday.
Thank you, Coleman. You too. Nice to talk to you always.
You've been listening to the SwimSwam Podcast. Stay tuned for new episodes every week. You can take SwimSwam Podcast on the go by subscribing on your favorite podcast platform. Look for links in the description below, and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more videos as well.